And we are back. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is Global News Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has mandated Vice President Kashim Shettima to lead Nigeria's delegation to the 2024 Commonwealth held Heads of Government meeting in Samoa. The senior special assistant to the Vice President on Media Communications, Stanley Nkwocha, in a statement on Sunday titled VP Shettima to represent President Tinubu at June 2024, said Vice President Shettima will join King Charles of England and other world leaders from 56 member countries. That will be held in Pacific Island in Apia, Samoa from October 21-26. The leaders will deliberate on the theme One Resilient Common Future, Transforming Our Commonwealth, and the theme will focus attention on how member countries can harness their strength through resilience, unlock potential, leverage the Commonwealth advantage, and foster a connected digital Commonwealth. At this meeting, Nigeria and other member countries will also reflect or elect and appoint the next Commonwealth Secretary General in line with the agreed memorandum on the establishment and functions of the Commonwealth Secretariat. Revised 2022 and principle of regional rotation, the next Commonwealth Secretary General will come from the Africa region. They will discuss how Commonwealth countries can work together to build resilience, boost trade, innovation and growth, and empower the Commonwealth 1.5 billion young people for the more peaceful and sustainable future. And the Vice President is expected to use the platform provided by the Commonwealth Business Forum to further attract investors to Nigeria as global experts from businesses and the private sector convene to recommend and champion solutions to global challenges. In view of the decision of Nigerian youth to commemorate the 4th anniversary of the #EndSARS protest today, some of the activists who led the mass action have called for the full implementation of the report submitted by various judicial panels of inquiry set up after the protest. This is coming after the October 2020 thousands of youths gathered in major cities across the country to peacefully protest the constant harassment, killings and extortion by officers of the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad, a unit of Nigeria Police. The protests culminated at the Lekki Toll Gate in Lagos, where several youths were reportedly killed and many others severely injured following the intervention of the Nigerian military. And in the aftermath of the protests, judicial panels were set up across various states to assess the review of the protesters' demand. Amongst the 4 years later, protest leaders have expressed deep regrets that many of the panel's recommendations remained unimplemented. Speaking, Lagos State Coordinator of the Take It Back movement, Adekunle Taofik, demanded the immediate arrest and prosecution of all those responsible for the killings of protesters and also called for the release of all #EndSARS protesters who were unjustly imprisoned. Another activist and lawyer, Inibehe Efyong, highlighted the lack of progress in police reforms, noting that widespread corruption, extortion, harassment and illegal detentions remained prevalent. Amnesty International Nigeria has continued to receive reports of human rights abuse, including unlawful detention, extortion, torture and sexual violence by the Nigeria police 4 years after the October 2020 #EndSARS protests. This is coming after the nationwide #EndSARS protests were held between October 1 and 2020 to demand an end to police brutality, particularly by the now defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigeria Police. And the protests, however, came to an abrupt end on the 20th of October 2020 following the loss of lives at the Lekki Toll Gate in Lagos after an alleged shootout by officers of the Nigerian military. A statement by the human rights group called on the Nigerian government to address human rights violation by the police, which they noted had continued to embolden impunity and leave Nigerians vulnerable to the same violations that triggered the EndSARS protests in 2020. Issa Sanusi, Country Director, Amnesty International Nigeria, said Amnesty International had continued to receive almost daily reports of human rights violation by the police across Nigeria, including unlawful detention, extortion, torture, sexual violence, and in some cases, extrajudicial execution, adding that the federal government still have the opportunity to reform the police and make it an institution with zero tolerance for human rights violations. He said Nigerian police or authorities' promises of addressing human rights violation by the police must be fulfilled to meet the country's obligations under Nigerian and international law, stressing that all atrocities before and after end-SARS protests must be investigated and suspected perpetrators brought to justice. About 2,421 complaints of misconduct have been filed against personnel of Nigeria Police Force between 2021 and first quarter of 2024. The development came from agencies including Nigerian Ministry of Police Affairs, Human Rights Commission, and the Public Complaints Commission, alleging misconduct over a wide range of issues, including harassment, extortion, unlawful arrest, unjust detentions, and killings of citizens. In a separate report, the Ministry of Police Affairs handled 431 complaints between July and September 2022, resulting in disciplinary actions for 81 officers, resulting in the dismissal of 7 of them, while the Lagos State Police Command topped the list with 327 cases, followed by the Federal Capital Territory Command with 210 complaints. Throughout the period, at least 45 police officers were dismissed for various offences, including extrajudicial killing, extortion, and brutality, while 3 policemen were dismissed for allegedly killing one Koyi Mishola in Kwara State. Speaking on the issue, the Executive Director of Rule of Law and Accountability Advocacy Center, Okechukwu Nwaguma, lamented this little has changed despite government promises and the establishment of judicial panels to investigate police violence. Inspector General of Police Kayode Betoku have condemned the rising cases of jungle justice across the country. He has ordered the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Force Criminal Investigation Department to investigate the incidents and bring all persons found wanting to face the full wrath of the law. Decrying the rise in the menace, the police, in a statement by the Force spokesperson Muyiwa Adejobi, highlighted the case in Edo State where a mob attacked a police station and burned some suspects to death on October 13, adding that in view of the recent spate of jungle justice in some parts of the country, the Nigeria Police Force has condemned the dangerous and abhorrent trend and cautioned the general public on the consequences of such on the criminal justice administration, the rule of law, and the global reputation of the country. Adejobi added that one of the police officers who ran to rescue the driver was killed by the mob, while a police team trying to prevent the execution of jungle justice was gruesomely attacked, which led to the killing of a police officer, ASP Augustine Usupai. Adejobi said the IG, while condoling the families of the victims, ordered the DRG FCID to fish out the criminals involved in the dastardly act, while the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Adeolu Ebetokun, sympathizes with the families of the departed souls and directs the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the FCID to investigate these incidents and bring all persons found wanting to face the full wrath of the law. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has warned that progress would continue to elude Nigeria since the country has become a burial ground for unimplemented policies. Obasanjo expressed worry that Nigeria appears to be taking 1 step forward and 3 steps backward due to leadership inability to implement policies. The former president spoke at an event in Abuja, stressing that Nigeria is not bereft of policies to achieve greatness, but blamed leaders for the country's lack of progress. Former militant leader Asari Dokubo have reaffirmed his claims that those in Nigerian army are behind oil bunkering in Niger Delta. Asari said President Bola Tinubu directed him to address the press, where he accused soldiers of oil bunkering in the region, adding that in June the former militant leader had claimed that the bulk cases of oil theft recorded in Niger Delta were traceable to the Nigerian army and navy. Asari had disclosed this after a meeting with Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja, and the former militant leader distanced ethnic nationalities from oil bunkering in the Niger Delta region. Leadership of the Labour Party have demanded the release of its national vice chairman for the Southeast, Mr. C.K. Gara, who was arrested by the police allegedly on the orders of Abia Governor Dr. Alex Oti. The party made this demand in a statement issued by its deputy national chairman, Dr. Ayo Olorunfemi, in Abuja, that Igara was arrested in Aba while holding a meeting with some party leaders when they were surrounded by policemen and whisked away without any warrant of arrest. Alternatively, Olorunfemi called for the party official to be charged to court within the next 24 hours as required by law. Federal government is discussing with the World Bank the possibility of securing a $500 million loan to support basic education. This is according to the program information document for the loan project obtained that the loan is part of the World Bank Hope for Quality Basic Education for All initiative, which aims to improve learning outcomes and address the challenges of out-of-school children. The project is a key component of Nigeria's efforts to reform its struggling education sector, and the federal government is expected to receive formal approval by March 2025. The program information document revealed that the total cost of the operation is $554 million, while the World Bank will cover $500 million. The remaining $54 million will be sourced from the Global Partnership for Education grant. The project aligns with the Universal Basic Education Framework, focusing on expanding access to early childhood education and primary and junior secondary schooling, and the UBE program addresses Nigeria's critical educational deficits, including the alarming statistics that 17.1 million children aged 5 to 14 are out of school, and will also tackle disparities in enrollment, with northern regions lagging behind their southern counterparts. Under the financing structure, the Federal Ministry of Finance will lead implementation in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Education and the Universal Basic Education Commission, while the World Bank loan will primarily be deployed to improve teaching quality through training, support community-based schools, and improve grants for better management and infrastructure. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have arrested two businessmen identified as Ihejirika Emmanuel and Uwagu Victory over alleged drug trafficking. Ihejirika, who frequently travels to Thailand explaining or claiming to import fish into Nigeria, was arrested on October 15, 2025 while attempting to board an Ethiopian airline flight to Thailand via Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. A statement by the agency's spokesperson Femi Babafemi on Sunday said when Ihejirika was taken from the body scan, the results showed he had ingested illicit drugs, which were later confirmed to be cocaine, while Victory was arrested at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, after arriving from Brazil via Addis Ababa during the inward clearance of passengers and an Ethiopian airline flight. He said a body scan conducted on the 26-year-old businessman revealed that he had ingested drugs, adding that he subsequently excreted a pellet of cocaine weighing 22 grams, while a Nigerian-Canadian nurse identified as Usman Grace Khadijat Olami was arrested on October 4 by NDLEA. During a search of her luggage, Babafemi said a total of 70 parcels of Canadian loud weighing 35.70 kg were recovered from her. Medical and Dental Consultants Association Nigeria has issued a 21-day ultimatum to stakeholders, including the federal government, to address its demands, or its members will withdraw their services nationwide. A communique issued on Sunday at the end of the extraordinary virtual National Executive Council meeting. The agenda of the meeting was to praise the discrimination of its academic and professional qualifications, the medical and dental fellowships, mostly by Nigerian universities administrators, arguing that it is the umbrella body for the custodians of Special Center and Medical Education in Nigeria. The communique signed by MD Khan's Professor Mohammed and the Secretary General Professor Dayabu Ibrahim said the NEC observed with dismay the intentional attempt and absurdity to benchmark the requirements of the Vice Chancellor position to the attainment of PDP without regard to the medical and dental fellowships, arguing that the University of Nnamdi Azikiwe Medics Alumni Association had faulted the requirements listed by the university in appointing Vice Chancellor for the institution. The NEC said the requirements are unfair, unlawful and discriminatory to holders of the medical and dental fellowships qualification, which are both an academic and a professional qualification, as it is the required qualification for the employment of lecturers into the facility of basic clinical sciences and dentistry. The Council also observed the failure of the government to harmonize the retirement age of medical consultants to 70 years, especially in the face of increasing needs for both academic and professional duties of these medical and dental specialists. The emolument of clinical medical lecturers with consolidated medical salary structure to correct the significant shortfalls in their emolument, entry level and pension. And now in business news, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project have advised President Bola Tinubu to stop the use of weapons by the Department of State Services and other security agencies in the country. The focus on ways to revive the national economic hardship. Serap said the three expression of fundamental human rights is significant and should not be suppressed, accusing the Tinubu-led government of threat to baseless lawsuits against human rights defenders, activists, journalists and other citizens. A statement signed by Serap's Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization urged Tinubu to direct the Department of State Services to immediately withdraw the baseless defamation lawsuit brought by their proxies against the organization and management staff, adding that it is wrong for security agencies to intimidate, harass and silence human rights defenders, activists, journalists and other civil society actors, which will weaken representative democracy, deepen impunity and undermine the rule of law. This is coming after September 9 officials of DSS reportedly invaded Serap's Abuja office barely 24 hours after the organization urged Tinubu to leverage his leadership and authority to instruct Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to promptly reverse the hike in the pump price of premium motor spirits, commonly known as petrol, as its retail outlet, and the security outfit said its agencies were detailed for a routine investigation, arguing that the officers' action had been misinterpreted as harassment and intimidation. Serap equally urged the federal government to embrace the rule of law, which will in turn entail respect for the human rights of Nigerians, arguing that where there is a culture of rule of law, there is likely to be less corruption. Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment have inaugurated Nigerian Export Promotion Council's Export Skills Acquisition Center in Apapa, Lagos, to empower women and youths. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Doris Uzoka Anite, described the center as a key step in empowering Nigerian youth and women through skill acquisition in bag making and other accessory, adding that the ESAC initiative aligned with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda aimed at job creation and poverty alleviation, stressing that the center is driven by the commitment to addressing fundamental challenges hindering export growth and economic diversification. The minister also said Africa's population is expected to double by 2050, with Over a third of world's youth residing in the continent, and coupled with the opportunities provided by the African Continental Free Trade Area and increasing demand of made in Africa fashion, the ESAC reflected the importance of equipping Nigerians with the skills to tap into global markets. The minister said Africa's fashion industry, worth $31 billion, accounts for just 1.2% of the global fashion market, valued at $2.5 trillion, and center will offer criticized training in product development, quality control, and digital skills to ensure the product meets international standards. Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission has expressed the need for a reduction in the number of economically unviable airports built by state governors in the country, stressing that proper infrastructure planning will reduce the duplication of such projects. The ICRC Director General, Dr. Johnson Ewalefo, who disclosed this at the second joint public-private partnership unit consultative forum on the next using PPP to actualize the renewed hope agenda in Nigeria's infrastructure delivery, brought together stakeholders from various sectors to discuss strategies for infrastructure development. This is coming after 6 state governors or governments, including Ekiti, Ebonyi, Jigawa, Yobe, Nasarawa, and Bayelsa, have spent 160 billion naira on airport charges or projects that opposition politicians and aviation professionals classified as unviable, apart from the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos, Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport Abuja, and Port Harcourt International Airport, Port Harcourt, River State, that generate about 80% of revenues for the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, while other airports constitute a financial burden. To resolve the issue, the ICRC DG said the national plan and project integration and collaboration with subnationals would eliminate the proliferation of unviable economic projects, and reiterated the importance of sharing experiences and overcoming challenges to drive economic growth. While against the backdrop, Nigeria Governors Forum also canvassed for broad adoption of public-private partnerships, particularly at sub-national levels, to deliver critical infrastructure that can drive economic growth and improve citizens' quality of life. The chairman of the NGF, Abdulrazak Abdurrahman, said PPP was vital for stating that the PPP offers innovative solutions for delivering essential projects efficiently. Central Bank of Nigeria released $547.7 million at the official exchange rate of 1,503 naira per dollar as of June 30th, 2024. The amount is a reduction of the $142.46 million or 20.6% from $689.8 million recorded in the first 3 months of 2024, and 80.76 billion naira or 8.93% from 903.95 billion naira recorded in the first quarter when converted to naira. This implies that the CBN released a total of 1.73 trillion naira for food items importation in 6 months, including, or according to data from the bank's Query Statistics Bulletin. This came after the federal government's plan to reduce the price of food commodities through the implementation of zero duty on selected basic food items is increasingly becoming difficult to achieve, and challenge is underscored by the alarming increase in the average price of imported food items, which rose to 878. On July 8, 2024, the federal government announced a 150-day duty-free import window for food commodities to ensure reduction in food inflation in Nigeria. The food commodities include maize, husk, brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas, and the program was meant to help cushion the effect of various factors contributing to food scarcity and price hikes in the country. President of African Development Bank Group, Mr. Akinwumi Adesina, says the major challenge facing Nigeria's manufacturing industries was the high cost of unreliability of electricity supply. The AFDB boss said load shedding and inconsistent availability of electricity had resulted in high uncompetitiveness manufacturing costs, adding that most Nigerian manufacturing companies are providing their own energy with a high dependence on generators, diesel and heavy fuel oil. He noted that the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is saying that industry spent 93.1 billion naira on alternative energy in 2018, adding that today no business can survive in Nigeria without generators, and it was a situation that called for government attention to boost the country's economy. Highlighting AFDB's attributions, Adesina said that the bank had invested massively in the power sector to support the implementation of Nigeria's power sector recovery program by providing $200 million for Nigeria electrification project. Reflecting on Nigeria's 64th journey after independence, the AFDB boss said, being the largest black nation on earth, Nigeria should carry the hopes of aspiration for all black people in the world, yearning to become a beacon in the world, adding that Nigeria needed to develop a faster for Africa to develop and should not remain in disappointment in the African continent. You're still watching the global news. Up next is international tidbits. At least 87 people were killed in an Israeli strike in the city of Beit Lahia in northern Gaza. Israel said it's checking reports of casualties and accused Hamas authorities for sharing exaggerated figures, while in Lebanon, Israel also resumed airstrikes on what is said were Hezbollah targets in Beirut's southern suburbs, with residents in the Haaretz Cake in Hadan ordered to evacuate the place by Sunday. The latest attacks come after a drone was launched towards Benjamin Netanyahu's home in northern Israel. Israeli PM described it as a grave mistake and said Iran and proxies would pay a heavy price. Iran and Hezbollah are behind the drone strike, while the Lebanese army says that the soldiers have been killed after a military vehicle was hit by an Israeli strike of Nebatim. The attack happened on the Ain Ebel Hanin road, which connects the border village of Ain Ebel to the nearby town of Hanin. Israel had not yet complimented the Lebanon's army, has historically stayed out of the cross-border clashes between Israel and Hezbollah, but a number of its troops have been killed in Israeli attacks since fighting of Israel-Hezbollah escalated last month. At least 7 people have died after part of the ferry dock collapsed in Georgia's Pelo Island. Georgia's Department of Natural Resources, which operates the dock, said at least 20 people plunged into the water when the gangway collapsed at the Marsh Landing dock as crowds gathered for cultural celebration. Multiple people have been taken to the hospital and search and rescue operations are ongoing. U.S. President Joe Biden said he and his wife Jill mourn the lives lost and pray for the injured and anyone still missing. While it is not yet known what caused the collapse of the walkway, which connected an outer dock where people board the ferry to another dock on shore. Byron Kemp, the governor of Georgia, said he and his family were heartbroken by the tragedy and asked for prayers for those lost and those who still in harm's way and for their families, while Biden says his team would be ready to provide any and all assistance that would be helpful to the community. Tech billionaire Elon Musk said he would give away $1 million a day to a registered voter in the key swing state of Pennsylvania under the U.S. presidential election in November. The winner will be chosen at random from those who signed a pro-constitution petition by Musk's campaign group America PAC, which is said to support Republican nominee Donald Trump's bid to return to the White House. The first lottery-style check was given away to a surprised-looking attendee at the town hall event on Saturday night, and the giveaway will effectively help to encourage potential Trump voters to engage in the campaign during the intense final weeks of presidential race ahead of the vote on 5th of November. Musk had previously offered a give of $47 to anyone who got a registered swing state voter to sign the petition, and this was legal under U.S. election law because no one was being paid to vote. Despite introducing money into the process, they could identify likely Trump voters. Musk, who has emerged as a key Trump supporter in recent years, launched America PAC in July with the aim of supporting the former president's campaign and has so far donated $75 billion to the group, which has quickly become a central player in Trump's election campaign. And the election will likely come down to 7 key battleground states, including Pennsylvania, as well as Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia, Michigan, Arizona, and Nevada. 73-year-old ferry nationalist accused of human rights abuses during his time in the military took the oath in parliament to officially succeed outgoing leader Joko Widodo. Prabowo have committed to Indonesia's non-aligned foreign policy, but has indicated he will be bolder in the world stage and has made China his first foreign visit after the election 8 months ago, before embarking on trips to a dozen other countries, including Russia and Australia, where he signed a key security deal. He inherits Southeast Asia's largest economy and the world's largest nickel reserves, are leaving a country of 280 million people, after half of whom are under the age of 30. Prabowo, who won by a first round the February election by the support of his running mate Gibran Raka, the 37-year-old of Widodo, and both campaign promises, including $28 billion free meal plan for children. The former defense minister, dressed in traditional attire, delivered a bombastic speech. Lawmakers who applauded and chanted his name. And now Nigerian sports. Popular Nigerian footballer Victor Boniface has escaped death after surviving a ghastly car accident. The footballer was involved in an accident that saw him hospitalized to treat his injuries. Boniface made this known in a series of posts shared on his Instagram stories while thanking God for sparing his life in what was a life-threatening situation. And now in entertainment news, rapper CDQ had waded into the beef between singers Wizkid and Davido and have described them as a couple. This is coming after Wizkid and Davido, who reviewed or renewed their beef on social media earlier this year, caused a stir at the London nightclub at the weekend after they snubbed each other. Reacting to their recurring controversy, CDQ said it's unwise to take side in the beef, stressing that the two music stars are like husband and wife. And that's the global news for tonight, but before we go, another look at the major stories. You're digging your own graves, WK statement. Police nabbed 29 suspects from terrorist camp. Police leaders demand panel report. Federal government unveils a proper skill acquisition center. Israeli strikes kill 87 persons in Gaza, and Boniface survived ghastly car accident while Wizkid Davido are like a couple, statement by CDQ. I am Enidoye Jackson. Thank you for watching. Remember to stay connected with us on all of our ATN socials: Facebook, YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram, TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X at Atlantic TV Net. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you once again for watching. I am Enidoye Jackson. Do have a very good evening.